Good morning to you. I'm Danilo Evangelista, and welcome to our video discussion for weather across the United States. Today, it is January 2nd, 2025, and today we are talking about the cold that is in place after the winter storm. As you know, we had a significant and in many regards, historic winter storm that brought snow all across the South, including the Gulf Coast and also the Carolinas. And now, as we move past that storm, now comes the cold that'll last throughout the entire week. And if you are not a fan of the cold weather, well, I'm sorry, you might want to click off this video because it is only bad news for you, at least throughout the rest of this week. And then maybe there might be some relief on the way past that, but we'll talk about that in just a moment. Let's start off, though, with the National Weather Service homepage, and let's really quickly refresh this just so we can have all the latest watches and warnings. Right now, extreme cold warnings in effect throughout the South and also a few interior areas. Probably some of these areas are mountains across the Appalachians. But extreme cold warning mean very, very cold temperatures, especially across the South here. I'm going to really quickly zoom in. This is the Lake Charles National Weather Service. This is in Lake Charles, Louisiana right now. Look at this. 9 degrees. Yes, single digits in Louisiana of all places. And you can see here, extreme cold warning in effect till, I guess, this morning around 9 a.m. So I guess this may be already expired, but extreme cold warning in effect. Dangerous wind chills between 5 and 15 degrees. Obviously, the threats are frostbite and hypothermia if you are not well dressed and well protected against the cold. And obviously, if you are in any of these extreme cold areas, it's obviously recommended that you stay indoors, especially because of all of the heavy snow that is on the ground across the Gulf Coast. That snow is definitely not melting quick today, and I can tell you that for sure. And it'll probably not melt at all very quickly throughout the rest of the week, especially because the cold will be in place across the South and the entire eastern half of the United States pretty much right through the end of the week. And really quickly, just want to go over some of the temperatures across the Gulf Coast right now. If this map can load properly, let's see. It's giving me a little bit of difficulty. Maybe let's see. Oh, it's actually working now. Across the South, look at that. In Lafayette, 16. I see some 15s as well. This is the New Orleans area in the 20s, upper 20s, so at least it's not too harsh. And then across the northern half of Lake Pontchartrain, I see 10. I guess this is Slidell, Louisiana, 15. And then let's move along the Gulf Coast, 20s, upper teens. This is Fort Walton Beach, Pensacola. What is that? Upper teens in Pensacola, Florida, and along the northern panhandle. And obviously, temperatures are colder as you head inland. Look at that across southern and central Alabama, mid and upper teens, even some areas with low teens. And what is that? 23 in Montgomery, Alabama at 23 degrees Fahrenheit. And Jackson, let's see. Jackson, Mississippi, this at least from Hawkins Field Airport, 19 degrees Fahrenheit. So yes, it is really cold, and especially if you are across the South, especially along the Gulf Coast, really, if you don't have to travel today, definitely stay indoors, especially given all the snow that is on the ground, which we'll go over the snow totals in just a moment. But there are still winter storm warnings in effect for northern Florida. When does this expire? Let's see. This expires until 1 p.m. this afternoon, even though most of the weather is actually already cleared away, and this is the current radar. And let's really quickly give this a refresh. Most of the weather is already moved away. A few snow showers remain along the Outer Banks, but that's probably going to move away in the next several hours as the system entirely moves out to sea and into the Atlantic. But we had the snow, we had the ice portions along the northern panhandle, and let's actually go to the snow totals now. Overall, probably a snow event that I don't think you would ever see in your lifetime again across the South. Some areas, including Louisiana and even including the Florida Panhandle as well. This is across Pensacola, Florida. Look at that, 7.5 inches. The Mobile Bay area and around Mobile, Alabama, 8 inches. Even look at that, 9.5 inch reading at Turkey Branch, Alabama. A little bit lower totals as you head north into Mississippi, especially just inland of the Mississippi coast. But even in portions near the coast, or at least in southern Mississippi, look at that. Evanstown, Mississippi, 5.5 inches. Basin, Mississippi, 5 inches. New Orleans, or at least the latest report, or this was as of yesterday, Kenner, Louisiana, right near New Orleans, 4 inches, although this is clearly not updated, so not going to bank on that because I've seen some reports indicating that New Orleans got around 8 to 9 inches of snow or something like that. And I've seen many people online posting as well the entire rulers being dug into the snow in terms of people measuring snow around the New Orleans area. Who would have thought that portions of Louisiana and the northern Florida Panhandle and Alabama, southern Alabama, and Georgia already have more snow this year than New York City. I think New York City right now has, at least as of Central Park, we only have around 5 to maybe 7 inches of snow on the ground, and vast portions of Louisiana. Look at that. Look at this. Southwestern Louisiana, Rayne, Louisiana, 10.5 inches, and in and around the Lake Charles area, 7 inches of snow. So pretty much portions of southern Louisiana matching or exceeding snow totals in many areas in the Northeast. Absolutely incredible and a very historic event that has unfolded. Many areas have saw their record snow totals, especially across the South and including Florida. 9 inches of snow in Florida. I think that breaks the record for total amount of snow in a single day anywhere in Florida, and that's exactly what we saw happen with this storm, and also along the Outer Banks too. And this is, I think, new reports that have just come in. Outer Banks of the Carolinas, 8 to 9 inches, and areas further down along the coast. What is this? Around the Jacksonville, North Carolina area, 4 inches, and then heading south into Wilmington, roughly around 2 to 4 inches, depending on where you were. So in general, widespread areas saw lots of snow. But the big story after this now, after the winter storm is cleared out, as you can clearly see on the radar that it has, or it is continuing to do so. Probably going to see a few more updated snow totals for the Carolinas, as it seems like there's still some snow ongoing there, but once again, this will probably move out over the next several hours. The big story after that is going to be the frigid cold air that will remain in place throughout the rest of the week. And let's take a look at the GFS indicating that right now. Move out in time, next 6 to 12 hours. Look at all that cold air in place. This is tomorrow morning. Cold air still in place, especially across portions of the Gulf Coast. Areas as much as 10 degrees Celsius below normal. And just look at how widespread all of the cold air will be, not just across the Southeast, although it's especially heightened across the Southeast, but also across the entire central and even northern Midwest too. And it kind of seems like the cold air keeps on recharging itself all the way to the end of the week, into Saturday and then into Sunday. Cold air is still in place, at least across the Southeast, until finally, as we head into Sunday and into the start of next week, temperatures begin to warm up, at least back to near normal, and then we have much colder air in place across portions of the northern Midwest. And then as we move into next week, you can finally see the warmer air return, especially across the South Central and over Louisiana and Texas. If you're not a fan of the cold air right now, as we head into next week and as we head into the next 168 hours, so right at the next 7 days, looks like as we head into next week, the cold air will be out of here. and eventually the warm air will return. And then let's actually see how does this shape out for the rest of the month as we close out January. Look at that. Much above normal temperatures return through most of the eastern United States except for New England, although I'd assume that that probably occurs as well. No, New England stays in the cold spell, unfortunately, at least according to the 60 GFS. And then we have a surge of warm air from the Gulf, and then you can even see some sort of low pressure over Texas. This actually looks like a potential severe weather setup as we close out January and head into early next month. We have a January thaw over the eastern United States. And let's actually really quickly look at the upper level pattern. Yeah, we have a cutoff low over the southwestern half of the country, a ridge over the eastern part. So we get some warm air to advance northward from the Gulf. And this will probably maybe be a severe weather setup that we watch heading into the early part of February. Going from this is my Twitter page, by the way, so if you want to follow me on Twitter, this is where you can find me. So we go from cold air right now to potentially severe weather towards the end of the month. Obviously, in regards to any severe weather, we'll watch that as that comes out, but that's seemingly 7 to 10 days away. But at least for the next several days, it's going to be cold, especially across the south and even in the Northeast right now. Many areas with temperatures in the single digits and even below zero, here in the Northeast too. That's going to remain in place for the next several days as well. And it seems like the January thaw or the early February thaw will really take place across the South as we head into next week. But it seems like the Northeast still remains cold, at least according to the GFS model. So if you're not a fan of cold in the Northeast, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. But if you are in the South and you're looking forward to all this cold and this snow melting away, you have to bear and hold on till the end of the week. So hopefully we could see relief as we head into next week. With that being said, though, thanks for watching for today's video. If you found this video informative, if you found this discussion informative and you learned a few things, would really recommend that you like, comment, subscribe, share with family and friends, especially if you want family and friends that you know that want to be notified of the weather. Direct them to this channel and direct them to this video. Let's grow the base a little bit. Why not? Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Peace, love, and kindness to you all, and stay warm. And we'll talk again very soon.